Stephen Curry had a message for all those damn moronic haters out there who stupidly, naively think he is not a clutch player, that he doesn't hit big shots at the end of games. Tonight's shot, that three-pointer, was a message to all those fools out there who still doubt Stephen Curry. And folks, the Golden State Warriors, they've won 6 of their last 7. They're back. They're in the conversation. There's still some work to be done. But man, oh man, tonight's game, if there is a sign that this team is back, that was it. National TV, KD, Booker, Beal. You ain't got enough. The Warriors beat you, and we're breaking it all down next. This is Locked On Warriors.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get podcasts and exclusively live right here on YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnba. That's linkedin.com/lockedonnba. to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. You can follow me, Cyrus Saatsaz, on that platform they call Threads at Dogwild. It's super easy. You can follow the program there as well at Locked On Warriors. What a game. The Golden State Warriors, in my humble opinion, the biggest test of the season. This mattered, folks. There is no doubt in my mind, or I don't think anyone's mind who follows this team closely, that this was a statement game. This was a game that the team damn well knew was a barometer for where they are this season. Lose this game, and you got a lot of self-reflection to do. Win this game, you're feeling damn good about yourself, and that's how the Golden State Warriors are feeling right now. They come away with the win against a stubborn Phoenix Suns team that would not go away at the end. Devin Booker just kept hitting dagger after dagger. Bradley Beal, Durant were in the mix as well. But Stephen Curry, Wardell Stephen Curry with a three-point shot, the team down by 2, hits the dagger 3. Steve Kerr scripts it up, 0.7 of a second remaining after he hit that bucket. And even though the refs, same way they've been doing all season long, they try to help the Suns there at the end, although it was a blatant foul that Andrew Wiggins committed on Devin Booker. And man, were the Golden State Warriors lucky in the sense that they had a foul to give. That would have cost them the game. But because they had a foul to give, they had to inbound the ball again with 0.6 of a second. Don't even ask me to explain how they logically came up with 1/10 of a second ticking off. I don't get that part of it. But because technically, when you inbound a ball, I believe there's supposed to be a minimum of 0.3 of a second that tick off. So I don't understand what happened there, but regardless, it wasn't enough. And the Golden State Warriors, winners, 113-112. They've won 6 of their last 7. Folks, the Warriors are back to 500. And Stephen Curry, in the final 10 seconds of a fourth quarter or overtime this season, this was the 4th time this year that Stephen Curry has hit a game-tying or go-ahead field goal, and he does it in style. A magnificent performance by Stephen Curry, magnificent performance by the Golden State Warriors. There's a lot to discuss, a few things to critique. I'm going to save that for the end of the show just to keep the vibes going strong. But let's start with Steph real fast in terms of the stat line, because this was the Stephen Curry show. 34 minutes that he played tonight, scores 30 points. He's been on a tear this season. And I know he's not in MVP discussions largely because of the fact that the Warriors, I think technically are still not even in the play-in right now, but he is carrying this team. He's still a superstar. He's still at the peak of his powers. And it all started tonight with Steph. There was one particular play earlier in the game where he was matched up one-on-one with Kevin Durant. And look, anytime those two face off, to me, it's always fireworks. It's always the marquee highlight. It's the main event. And Steph drains a step back three. And in typical iconic fashion, Steph turns around to go back and start playing defense, knowing the shot's going in before it actually goes in. He's got magical powers in that sense, folks. And it was awesome. It was awesome to see Steph, a player who during Kevin Durant's 3 years took a back seat. He could have done so much more. If he really wanted those finals MVPs, I do think he could have gotten them. But being as selfless as he is, he took a step back and he let Kevin Durant shine in those 3 years. And undoubtedly, a huge part of that was an effort to make sure Durant was happy and would stay longer term. And Steph Curry was disparaged for a lot of that time because a lot of people thought that the title Steph was winning was because of Kevin Durant, even though he won one without KD on the team in 2015. And so these two, there is a bit of a rivalry there. It is an interesting matchup in the sense that you do have this I think a smidge of animus, maybe not between the two players, but certainly in terms of legacy, in terms of the discourse that goes on with sports. So to see Stephen Curry just have the type of performance that he had tonight was incredible. And for the Warriors, look, Devin Booker down the stretch there was borderline unstoppable. It was, those shots he was making time and time again. And the Warriors were just taking turns throwing defenders at him. I think Kuminga took a shot, and Kuminga played fantastic defense tonight. And kudos to Kuminga for that for one of the final possessions. I have that on my notes as well. I got to get to, but Kuminga took a shot, Wiggins took a shot, Pajemski took a shot, and Booker just kept draining these things. It was foreboding. It was not a great, solid, comfortable feeling down the stretch, considering how the Warriors have been playing at the end of these games this year. This was, I believe, the 34th clutch game. Don't quote me on that. I haven't had a chance to really do a lot of research since the game ended. But for them to come away victorious, this was a positive sign that things are on the up and up for the Golden State Warriors. Moses Moody, how did you feel about the Warriors winning tonight?
It sucks.
Ooh, ouch. I guess so. I think Moody's a little bitter about the fact that he didn't play tonight. I'm kidding. Look, we'll get into that a little bit later. But regardless, this was a fantastic win. And even though Moses Moody did not play, hopefully he's feeling good about it as well in terms of the big team picture. But again, this has to start in terms of the discussion, in terms of the accolades, in terms of just who we look to as the hero of tonight's massively huge victory for the Golden State Warriors. It is Stephen Curry. He's the leader of this team. And again, he's still very much at the peak of his powers. Now, something else that was going on in this game tonight, it had a playoff feel to it. For some reason, I don't know, man, this is just my feeling on things, but I feel like every time there is a super big game involving the Warriors at home, and usually these are playoff games, but tonight it had that feel. The TV screen has like this hazy appearance to it, almost like there's a physical haze or like a fog or like a mist. Like the picture just is not as clear as usual. And I don't know if it's like the perspiration in the arena that's just causing condensation. I don't know if it's just my eyes playing tricks on me, but it looks a little different when you have that really like momentous feel to a game, that playoff atmosphere. And tonight had that. And it was, these two teams were throwing haymakers back and forth. But within this big game, and within, the little battles going on within this, I talked about Steph and KD. There was also Draymond Green and Yusuf Nurkic. And the history there, in case you've been living in a cave, just to, refresh your memory, Draymond Green's season hit the apex of turmoil when he was, trying to sell a foul, and he does this whiplash ballerina spin move, his arms flailing, smacks Nurkic right in the face. Nurkic has the weird post-game comments afterwards saying that, alluding to Draymond needing help and hoping he gets help. Maybe a little condescension there in the verbiage. I know Nurkic later said that he's happy for him and so forth, but clearly there was some back and forth, some bitterness between those two players, and Draymond Green held his own. And I'm really hoping we get sound bites from that soon. The maturation of Draymond Green was clearly evident tonight. I'm saying that with the fact that Draymond Green got a technical in this game and was damn close to getting ejected. But look, he kept his cool after that. He did not get the second tee, and Nurkic was trying to bait him and then some tonight. That was clearly an objective on Phoenix's behalf, and Draymond Green held his own. We're going to talk about this and so much more in just a moment. But I'm just looking at the chat right now, just seeing what everyone's talking about. So somebody wants me to ban a certain user for spamming. Let me see who you're talking about here. I don't know. Anyways, we'll get to more of that soon. But fantastic win tonight. Golden State Warriors have a 500 record. It is not every day that we celebrate the Golden State Warriors reaching 500, but that's the kind of season that we're having. And tonight on a Saturday night in what is the start of one of the biggest 24-hour stretches in Bay Area sports history, the Golden State Warriors do their part, winning a massively huge game, beating one of the rivals in the NBA, the Phoenix Suns, a 1-point thriller thanks to Stephen Curry hitting the game winner, 113-112. We'll have a lot more to discuss. I'm going to play. Hopefully, we'll get some Draymond Green sound because I really want to hear from him. I'm going to talk about the back and forth between him and Nurkic in a game that, again, had a playoff mood to it. Happy Saturday night, everyone. Why don't we pay some bills? And first up on the docket for tonight is our good friends over at LinkedIn. And look, every report seems to indicate that the economy is raging. It's going strong. And, the unemployment numbers are down. And usually when the economy's in that point, it's hard to find talent because job seekers suddenly have a lot of options. So if you're a business owner or if you're an entrepreneur and you need to find some talent out there, whether you're hiring for a small business or a project, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. As a professor myself, I always tell my students, if you are not on LinkedIn, you are missing out on headhunters, on opportunities. It is the number one networking platform and then some for job seekers and job hiring individuals. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. They have a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which makes it the best place to hire. It gives you access to professionals you can't find anywhere else. LinkedIn does all that while making the process easy and intuitive. Hiring is easy when you have that many quality candidates. So easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnba. That's linkedin.com/lockedonnba to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. The Locked On Podcast Network has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. And now you can also find it on Amazon Fire TV. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find the Locked On Sports Today channel now on Amazon Fire TV. And find me and the program on Threads. My handle at Dogwild, super easy, and the program at Locked On Warriors. I'm going to check real fast here and see if there is any sound that has come down because I want to hear some jubilation from this Golden State Warriors team. So I'm going to, in the meantime, but let's talk. And while I'm looking for that, the Draymond Nurkic battle was absolutely incredible. Again, Nurkic was borderline dirty, and there was one aspect in this game that I'm not knowledgeable enough to have a clear-cut answer on this, but there was this one back and forth where Nurkic did like the slap on the court after he made a bucket. Draymond Green was defending him, and he did the too small gesture. This has become like a taunt, like a physical visual meme, if you will. I don't know how to properly describe this thing, but Nurkic does the too small thing, backs down Draymond, scores, and then Draymond did it right back to him like the very next play. And I don't, again, for the refs, I don't know if it's okay to do that. I would think that that would be a taunting type gesture, and I would think it would, at least a warning should have been solicited. Given Nurkic is literally taunting Draymond Green, trying to bait him into getting in trouble. He's already on thin ice with the league and with officials, but Draymond kept his cool, and that was huge. There was a sequence. Draymond Green got taken out of the game early in the first quarter. Because the tension was high. There was a lot of back and forths. Again, the baiting attempt from Nurkic was right from the beginning of the game, and the cameras went to Draymond. Steve Kerr took Draymond out early just to cool him down a little bit, put Looney in the game. Looney had a good game. Looney's stat line tonight, and he's been the subject of some criticism this season. I don't know. He's a role player. I haven't seen enough evidence myself to really like criticize him or to blast him, but some people have not been happy. He played 5 minutes tonight, scored 3 points. The team was in the positive in net rating when he was on the court with a +1, but he filled in. Those 5 minutes, I believe, were almost exclusively in the first quarter. But the whole reason I bring that up, though, is because the cameras went over to Draymond Green, and he was talking to Chris Paul, and I really wish, and you could lip read a lot of what Draymond was saying. And every once in a while, there are people out there that are just brilliant at this stuff, and they figure out everything that's said from an individual just strictly off lip reading. And it looked like Draymond was going off on Nurkic. I couldn't tell what he was saying. Obviously, a lot of expletives in there. But he was talking to Chris Paul, and whereas Chris Paul was, savvy enough at the moment to cover his mouth so that people cannot lip read, Draymond was not doing that. And I really wish I knew all the exact words, because he was talking so much smack about Nurkic. But nonetheless, Jusuf Nurkic is having arguably the best season of his career. It's the first time I could ever remember him being healthy. And early on, he was having an impact. But Draymond Green, he's the starting center in this club now, and that move has clearly made bounds, has made a positive impact for this Warriors team, considering they've won 6 of their last 10. I believe they're now 6-2 since Dre's been back as a starter. And he won that battle. I mean, he was offensively, he was attacking the rim, and he's always been a great finisher. I feel like that's an underrated aspect of Draymond Green. The guy can finish at the basket very efficiently and effectively. And Draymond tonight had a 15-point game, so no triple single for Draymond Green tonight. He was 7 of 9 from the field. One of my favorite gestures in basketball and in sports period is Draymond's flex. I absolutely love that thing, and he was doing that tonight. He had 9 assists in this game and also added 7 rebounds. So kudos to Draymond Green. You won the battle with Nurkic, not just the physical battle, but the mental battle, because that SOB was trying to bait Draymond all night. I thought at least a warning was warranted when he was doing the too small thing slapping the court. But look, if Nurkic could do it, Draymond could do it, and Draymond paid him back and then some. So that was a feel-good moment in this game. And when we come back, we're going to talk about some of the nuance. Klay Thompson did not play a lot, and we got to at least touch on that, because that was huge. Jesus Christ, we have 1,600 people in the chat. Bravo, man. That's how big tonight's game was, by the way. This was a playoff game, and the Warriors won, man. They're back in the discussion. I got to look at the standings real fast here before we go to our next timeout, because I am very curious to know if the Warriors are officially, as of today, a playoff team. And they are the Golden State Warriors with a 25-25 record and even 500 are currently the 10th seed in the Western Conference. They're a half game ahead of the Utah Jazz, who are 26-27. And the Warriors, I'm sorry, I said they won 6 of their last 10. They've actually won 7 of their last 10. My apologies for that. And including the huge win tonight over the Phoenix Suns, who are currently the 6th seed in the Western Conference. Golden State Warriors are just 4.5 behind both the Suns and the Kings. Still a long ways to go. It's incredible. This season has just been a roller coaster. Bob chilling. We going deep. We might. And I hate saying but look, as fans, yeah, man, we might. We absolutely might. Yada mean real fast here. I want to give some love to a few people in the chat. Writes, I still don't think Draymond should be playing center versus certain bigs. Got to give Trace Jackson Davis. I'm really glad you brought his name up for bigger matchups. I thought Trace Jackson Davis, we didn't see him in the first half. It was looking like it was going to be another DNP for him tonight. Trace Jackson Davis balled out. You got to give him credit because the Phoenix Suns, they're a big team. They're like, I don't mean big in the sense of like the Lakers or like the Cleveland Cavaliers where they have like, or the Timberwolves where you have like 2 3 7-footers and a bunch of players that could pass as centers out there simultaneously on the court together. But they do have an army of wings and long athletic stretch fours, bigger threes. And they also have a backup center who has been a pest against the Golden State Warriors in the past. And I'm referring to Drew Eubanks. But Trace Jackson Davis, bravo. I'm really glad you mentioned him in the chat because he deserves a mention. Even though he only played 5 minutes and change, those 5 minutes were clutch. And I don't think it's a coincidence that his net rating was in the positive. He finished the +4. Not every Warriors player finished in the positive in net rating tonight. This was a tight game. The Warriors won this game by 1. But Trace Jackson Davis, again, some nights the stat sheet's not going to tell the whole story. He did grab 4 rebounds in those 5 minutes, so kudos to him there. He had no points, but he was incredibly impactful. So I do appreciate you bringing his name up. And real truth, I was seeing that on social media. You're right that Doris Burke sounded devastated at the end there, indicating that she has a bias against the Golden State Warriors. I don't know, she might. I do hear her sometimes say things that are a little weird. Patrick Singh asked, can we get a center in the buyout market? Absolutely. But there's a player, I think, more likely than a center that the Warriors are going to pursue. And we're going to talk about that when we come back, because the buyout market might absolutely be a possibility for not the 14th roster spot, but probably the 15th. I think we all know who's going to get the 14th roster spot. I'll reveal that. I'll talk about the buyout market. I'll talk about a funky second quarter where, I think we're starting to see something with Klay Thompson here in terms of his playing time being diminished. Got to give Steve Kerr credit for that, though, because, look, Klay Thompson's his boy, and Steve Kerr clearly plays favorites. We didn't see Jonathan Kuminga in the last possession there, which was really weird. I think that was a little indicative, again, of who Steve Kerr's faves are on this team. But, we'll touch on all that and so much more because Klay Thompson is looking like he is falling out of the rotation. Did not have a great game tonight. First, though, for our second and final commercial break for tonight's program, an incredible program. We got 1,700 people on the show, our biggest audience ever for a live audience. Thank you. My God, man, I'm tripping out about this. Let's give some love to our next sponsor, and that is the car company Nissan. Are you the kind of driver that likes to push things a little further? Ever wonder what adventure could be around the next corner? Our friends at Nissan have a lineup of SUVs with the capabilities to take your adventure for the next level. Let's talk about 2 of their cars. First up, the 2024 Nissan Rogue. It's perfect for city drives and also for great escapes, ideal for Northern California. Class exclusive, Google built in, is always updating the assistant to call on for almost anything. Gone are the days of connecting your phone. Google Assistant, Google Maps, and the Google Play Store are built right into the 12.3-inch HD touchscreen infotainment system. The 2024 Rogue is the perfect midsize crossover for your next adventure. And let's also talk about the 2024 Nissan Pathfinder. I once owned a Pathfinder when I was younger. Has room for up to 8, an expansive cargo capacity, and advanced available 4x4 capability. I'm a 4x4 or bus driver. That's the only vehicles I pick up. And again, I used to be a Pathfinder driver. I loved my Nissan Pathfinder. That was a hell of a ride. With 284 horsepower and up to 6,000 pounds towing, when adventure calls, the Pathfinder is there to answer. So take the Nissan Rogue, the Nissan Pathfinder, or even the Nissan Armada and go find your next big adventure. Shop NissanUSA.com.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, one final segment of Locked On Warriors. Thank you for making Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. For our next show, what's today, Saturday? First of all, let's go Niners. I'm wearing this color. I don't have a lot of red in my closet. When I was younger, I don't know if you folks, for I guess the older viewers and listeners, this brand Starter, and Ryan Leong, who comes on this program, he likes to collect Starter apparel. Starter was a brand. I don't know if they're still around, but when I was a kid, the Starter brand was the hottest clothing item you could buy. And so if you're one of the cool kids, you had a Starter jacket almost exclusively repping the San Francisco 49ers. Because when I grew up, the 49ers were gods of the San Francisco Bay Area. They had an 18-year dynasty. And as a nerd, I sat there and just studied this blueprint that Eddie DeBartolo and his organization laid for everyone else to show you how to sustain a dynasty. It's that philosophy I take and implement on this program and apply to the Golden State Warriors in terms of keeping this run going. So anyways, but in today's day, I don't have a lot of red. So that's what this is all about. Go Niners is my point. The Warriors did their part. This is an incredible 24 hours of sports for the San Francisco Bay Area. This literally might be the biggest 24-hour stretch. This game tonight might have been so monumental. It could have been the tipping point for the Warriors completely turning this season around and starting a stretch. They're at the 50-game mark tonight, which means they have, 32 games remaining? Take it home, boys. And the San Francisco 49ers tomorrow, I believe kickoff is 3:30 p.m. Pacific time approximately. Bring it home, boys. Let's get that first Super Bowl since 1995. That's a long-ass time. So I just wanted to mention the 49ers real fast before we continue on. Here's some sound, by the way. Actually, maybe there is no sound. I thought there was some sound from Gary Payne II, but I don't see anything published yet. Who cares? It's not a big deal. Gary Payne II, real fast. Let's talk about him. First game back in nearly a month, or maybe over a month. I'm sorry, I don't have that figure in front of me. I could look that up in a second here. What a game from him. First of all, I reported on the show, I think the last show with Kylan Mills, that we were not expected to see Gary Payne II until after the All-Star break. The All-Star break is coming up here. In fact, the Warriors play the Utah Jazz on Monday. So that'll be our next show. It'll be Monday post-game. That's another big game right now, considering the Warriors have a half-game lead over the Utah Jazz for the 10 seed. Then the Warriors play the Clippers on Wednesday, and then it's the All-Star break, and we're going to get a nice extended reprieve. Gary Payne II was expected to come back after the All-Star break. So he wasn't expected to play tonight or in the Utah and Clippers game. He was going to take 3 more days off so he could be fully rested. And then we were expected to see him after the All-Star break. The first game after the All-Star break, started to sound so redundant, is February 22nd when the Warriors host the LA Lakers. The Warriors have a lot of huge games coming up. That Utah Jazz game is huge. The Clippers game next Wednesday is huge. This was just the first test of many. But for Gary Payne II to come back this early, his body heals. I mean, think back to the NBA Finals. Remember when Dylan Brooks, with that savagely dirty hit that knocked Gary Payne II out with a broken hand/wrist? You're absolutely right. Steve White, he had 2 lobs in this game. The dude is so athletic. There was one sequence where he defended Kevin Durant, it was Durant. And again, there's like a 8, 9, 10-inch difference in height there. It's absolutely blatant. And he held his own. Durant did not score in this one particular play that I was thinking of. It was such a vital one-on-one matchup. So kudos to Gary Payne II. It wasn't just the defense it wasn't just the defense side of the ball that he was thriving in. On the offensive side, he played 14 minutes on the dot. He scored in double figures. The Warriors had 6 players in double figures tonight. He was one of those 6, scores 11 points, a perfect 5 for 5 from the field, did not miss a single bucket. That includes a 3-point attempt. Also had 4 rebounds in this game, 2 assists in this game, had a block. So kudos to you and all the players who scored in double figures tonight. While I'm on this note real fast, Brandon Pajemski, who I thought had an awesome game, who's pretty much replaced Klay Thompson in the rotation in terms of closing games. No arguments either, man. Brandon Podziemski is a feisty SOB. He's the type of player that, again, I mentioned this on the show months ago. He's got that Russell Westbrook in him in terms of rebounding. He's instinctually just savvy in terms of knowing where the ball goes. I don't know if he studies every individual's shots like Dennis Rodman used to know where balls usually end up from misses. Dennis Rodman literally would do that. And it did contribute to him being one of the greatest rebounders this game has ever seen. So I don't know if Podziemski is doing something similar to that, but he's just, his rebounding is incredible, but he's also a tough dude. Like, he doesn't get pushed around easily. And he's very strong. And I just love so much the Warriors have a player like him, because other teams, every time they see Podziemski, getting another charge, every time they see Podziemski showing up out of nowhere to get a rebound, he has no business grabbing. It is demoralizing in that variable that has no measurement to it. Momentum. He impacts that in such a crazy way. And tonight was no exception. And again, Klay Thompson is no longer finishing games, folks. Now, I don't know if this is going to be a game-by-game basis, but Podziemski played 35 minutes tonight. Klay ended up playing 24, and Podziemski finished with 10 points, was a +5 in net rating, had 8 rebounds in this game, 7 assists. So he came 2 rebounds and 3 assists short of a triple-double. So kudos to Brandon Podziemski. Again, Gary Payton II was in double-figure scoring with 11. Draymond Green, I mentioned, had the 15. Andrew Wiggins had 12. Wiggins, look, look, they won tonight, all right? I'm happy with that. Here's my one thing with Andrew Wiggins, though. I do wish in the final few minutes of this game, because Devin Booker was eating the Warriors up left and right? He was getting all these huge buckets, and for a moment, the Warriors looked like they were taking off. They had the game under control, and the next thing you know, you blink, and the Suns have a lead. And it was almost primarily because of Devin Booker causing havoc. He can be unstoppable when he wants to, and he was proving that late in the game. And I thought those final few minutes was where Gary Payton II should have made an appearance. He is so lethal as a defender. I mean, certain people like Rick Barry, who comes on this show a lot, the Hall of Famer, he likes to say famously that there's no such thing as a lockdown defender, right? If you could play great defense, but you can't lock down these all-time great athletes that play NBA basketball. But Gary Payton II is as close as it gets to that. And I do wish he was playing those final few moments. I thought if he's going to be back as fast as he is, similar to the NBA Finals when Dylan Brooks broke his wrist and most players with an injury like that, you're out for the rest of the postseason. He was back. He was back by the NBA Finals. It was incredible. The dude is such a fast healer. But I thought he belonged in there for those final few minutes. And if there's going to be someone who he replaces, look, Wiggins, he had a good game tonight. I wouldn't say great, but he had a good game. But I do, and his stat line real fast, Wiggins in 28 minutes, 12 points in this game, had 5 rebounds, 3 assists. It was a little weird that he was in there at the very end instead of Kuminga. I mean, Jonathan Kuminga is now easily your number 2 player, scoring-wise. He might be your best defender unless Gary Payton II's on the floor. And I guess Draymond Green is better than him. So maybe he's your second or third best defender. And Kuminga finished the game with 21 points. A little bizarre that he wasn't in the lineup for the very last possession, the one that Stephen Curry hit the 3-pointer to win. But look, they won. They scored. So kudos to Steve Kerr. Bravo. I'm nitpicking. The Moses Moody thing was a little bizarre. Clearly, Gary Payton II's minutes came from Moses Moody. That was the sacrifice. Hybrid Nick is writing here. Is this the person that everyone else wants me to ban? Hybrid Nick 12 says Klay Thompson has a higher percentage from 3 than Pods on more attempts for the year, and he's second on the team in scoring. All the stats on Klay's side, even on defensively. Yeah, but you wanted to hear what Klay's stats tonight were? Klay Thompson tonight in 24 minutes, 2 of 10 from the field, 1 of 7 from deep, 5 points. So, and Klay and Hybrid Nick, let's not spam, all right? I'm seeing now that you are absolutely spamming this thing. So let's not spam, all right? The show's at the end, so there's not much to do for now. But look, the Warriors won a massively huge game. We're going to be back at this soon. I got a lot to talk about too. There's going to be a new program I'm launching here soon. That's going to be an extension of this, talking Warriors. But tonight, the Warriors win. What a game. Go Niners. Love you all. 1,700 plus people. Thank you. Thank you. Love you. Bye-bye.